Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 18, the final round of season 3 of Formula 2. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Comments, taking you through proceedings on Formula 2 on a Tuesday night, as always. And joining me in the commentary box, once again, for the final time this season, is QVR Daka. Daka, how are you this evening?
Thank you, Aidan. Yep, I'm doing very well as always, and well, where has the season gone, I think, is the time to reflect on that. We're, of course, gathered here today for the 18th and final round. Where other place to end it but at Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. There is no other place to cap off a season, and I'm sure the racing will be electric here tonight. The championship battle, both the championship battles, I believe, came to an end last time out in Abu Dhabi, so it's just going to be a bit more of a race for pride this time out then. Not as much on the line. These drivers can all go out there and just have a great time of it and produce more of that racing that we've loved this season.
Absolutely, yeah, and let's have a look. I've said absolutely, first time this stream already. And let's have a look. And obviously, you mentioned about the championship standings already being wrapped up in both categories. So let's have a look at those championship standings after the last round at Abu Dhabi. It was actually probably top six in terms of points. It's his third worst performance of the season last time out in Abu Dhabi. But who cares in terms of his championship? He's already won it, so he is on 614 points now, which is a massive amount. It's a massive number to say in a Formula 2 point standings, but 614 points on him is 112 points clear of Larkin in second place, who had his worst score of the season last time out in UAE. But there is a huge battle going on for second in the championship, though. Larkin with only 6 points. Campbell and Verstappen with 2 great rounds last time out. Campbell third in the standings now, just past Verstappen after the previous round. 1 point in it between the two Trident cars, and they are 17 and 18 points respectively behind Larkin. So it's still all to play for that second in the championship. There's 123 points back to Zaldava, who has secured 5th at this point in the season. He is 82 points clear of Chill. Till is 35 points clear of XL Lando, who's come on strong at the second half of the season since joining, so he's looking to maybe try and pass Chill at the end of this one, and who knows, he could end up getting that 6th place in the standings. Miami, Alt Maverick and Pease round off the top 10 in the standings in Formula 2, and then just looking to the Teams Championship, Trident lead on 969, they're 76 points clear of Prema, and then it's Arden 319 points back in third place. So it's fair to say that Trident and Prema have dominated the team standing so far this season. And I mean, we've had such a crazy battle for the championship, and the championship feel like it ended a while ago, but there is still a huge battle going on for second place.
Oh yeah, it's very much bunched up over the last few rounds. Certainly both the Trident drivers really rallying over this final phase of the season, whereas of course Larkin's a bit of inconsistencies crept into his game. That's made this a much more hotly contested affair over P2 in the Drivers' Championship standings. I think that's going to be the main port of attention for tonight. Keep a close eye on that. The Drivers' Championship, in terms of the win, is all over. But yeah, that battle over second place could be very, very thrilling tonight.
It really could, yeah. Well, obviously, like you said earlier on, we come to Interlagos to finish off the season, which in real life, Interlagos should be the final round of the season. I think it's tradition at this point, and I think pretty much everyone would agree that Brazil is a better way to end off the season than Abu Dhabi, isn't it? So it's fitting that we've come to Brazil for the last round of the season. And Brazil, what a track it is for racing. This is the middle sector, incredibly slow. A lot of slow hairpin corners, really technical. But that run down to the centre S, the run down the back straight as well, down towards turn 4. So many great overtaking opportunities at this track.
Yes, and it's also a track where I wouldn't say it's easy to overtake. The opportunities are certainly spread out across the lap, but I wouldn't say it's one of the easiest tracks to make overtakes at regardless, but it's a very difficult track to pull away. Very short lap, one of the shortest on the entire calendar by lap time. It's definitely top 4 in terms of the shortest laps on the entire calendar. So yeah, it comes at you thick and fast here, this track. A lot of elevation change. It's one of the most exciting racetracks, I think, that the calendar has to offer. And I hope, after the amazing racing we've seen this season, that yet again Interlagos is going to produce another classic.
Yeah, I imagine it would. We've had some real amazing races at this track in real life, and we've had some real amazing races in this league in Formula 2. And I've said a number of times already, Formula 2 for me has been the best thing I've commentated on so far in this game cycle. It's been so much fun, Formula 2 this year. Obviously, Formula 2 will be moving to a Monday next season, so I thought I'd let you guys know that just before we get into qualifying, that I unfortunately will not be commentating next season's Formula 2. I believe, Daka, you are staying on as a commentator for Formula 2, but unfortunately I will not be continuing. So for the foreseeable future, this is my last race for Formula 2 as well. So everyone out there that's watching, or all the drivers that are watching the stream, give us a good show to round off. I'm sure you will, and I'm sure Brazil will provide plenty of action. But I'm really excited to get this one going.
Had to just wipe away a tear there, but let's get this one started. We are loaded in and we are raring to go. We know the format by now. One-shot qualifying, then a 50% distance feature race and a 50% distance sprint race with a top 8 reverse grid. You know the drill. Let's get into it. I believe we have a full grid of 20 drivers to dispute this final race of the season. This final round of the season, I should say. And yes, for round 18, the excitement is higher than ever. Here we go now. Of course, we'll kick it off with one shot. Let's see, first of all, what the weather's like, because here at Interlagos in Brazil, it can produce a bit of moisture in the air, but for one-shot quality, it couldn't be further from it. We're going to have bright and sunny. These drivers can put together all the lap time they can. A track that historically has very close lap times in quality. Let's see if we're going to see more of the same here tonight. One-shot qualifying coming right up.
Yeah, really, really exciting qualifying. This one is going to be, the field is going to be really, really close. Let's look out for this one. Toxic, once for last week, didn't actually get pole position. So let's see if we can continue that streak and get 2 weeks in a row where Toxic doesn't end up on pole position. We'll have to wait and see. We also got a new driver tonight in Old School. He's racing for the first time in the last round of the season, but we're going to ride on board with XL Lando, who has been on pole before already this season. We'll wait and see what he can do. He is in the MP Motorsport car, heading down now towards the Senna S, and then down the back straight of the Retroposta. Let's have a look then through turn 3, really, really long turn 3, easily flat, and then down this back straight towards turn 4. The first proper DRS zone on this track. This one is down towards turn 4, Desilio Largo, turn 4 and 5. Here we go then into turn 4. Don't take too much curb on the inside line. It can unsettle the car and push you out wide. Lando nice and neat through there, and he's fastest in the first sector so far through turn 5, and then up the hill to the double apex of 6 and 7. Ferradura, this one is really, really great racing opportunity. This one is you can drive side by side through here. Understeers a little bit over the crest, and then into turn 8. First of these 3 hairpins in a row through 8, and then down through turn 9. This hairpin never seems to end. Very easy to lose the traction on the exit of the corner as well. Through the kink of 10 and then into the hairpin of 11, Pico de Pato, and then back down the hill. This long left-hander, very easy to understeer, especially in the race with higher fuel loads on. Really, really difficult to get that one right. Braking zone for turn 13, Junshao. The last corner on the track that really means anything. We've got 2 more corners left. We're just coming up to one of them now, turn 14, and then turn 15, the last corner on the track. But they are easily flat, just part of the pit straight. Lap is already over. Who's going to be on pole? It looks like we could have Toxic on pole position once again as we come up to the line, and it is going to be Toxic on pole position with a 16.1. He ends up 2.5 tenths clear of Lando at the top of the field, with I believe Miami third on the grid. So Toxic and Lando front row, not something we're very used to seeing at this point in the season, but Miami a good qualifying up there.
Yes, solid from Miami. We know that he tends to do better in the races than qualifying. We'll keep an eye out then. So Toxic, another 4 points to add to his incredible championship tally. Lando again joins us on the front row, a quarter of a second behind. Miami in front of Larkin, one of his best qualifying performances in a while. He does beat his 2 championship rivals. Short, another solid performance in fifth. Then the 2 Tridents on the third row of the third and fourth row of Verstappen and Campbell. Old School, good debut qualifying, gets up in the 8th, rounding out the top 10 is going to be Chill and Nolan. Outside the top 10, yeah, Maverick, Tim, California, Driving Dutchman, Spag, Jordan, Alex, Ebo, and then Zerma and Brandon failed to set times, either invalidated or didn't go out at all. That is qualifying, the last qualifying session of the season. Is now in the books, and I think it's one that's relatively reflective of what we've seen really in terms of raw pace, particularly in the second half of this season. Toxic and Lando have just dominated the front of the field.
Yeah, they really have in terms of pace. It's kind of a shame that Lando took part at the midpoint of the season, because who knows where he could have been in the championships. The fact that he's fighting for 6th today with Chill just goes to show the pace he's had in the second half of this season. And yeah, like you say, him and Toxic really have been at the forefront of this championship from start to finish. So we'll have to wait and see how this race pans out. Can Lando get the better of Toxic in the feature race, or can Toxic pick up yet another feature race victory. I'm going to have to go through and count at some point how many feature races Toxic has won this season, but I would say with confidence that he's probably won at least half of them at this point in the season.
Oh yeah, I think I'd agree with you. I think around about half of them is more than likely. He has, of course, let a few slip away from him, but obviously on pure pace, Toxic, I think we can all agree at this point, a thoroughly deserved champion. And I hope that he goes out and enjoys himself tonight. There is no pressure on him to perform. We'll see how he gets on, though. Lando, predictably, will probably put up a tough fight on pure pace. And watch out for Miami as well. We know just how good he is in terms of racecraft. I'm looking at the tyre choices there because there's some very interesting ones here. And in terms of the front row there, you're seeing a lot of alternate strategies then, and certainly up at the front, well, much of the field is split on this issue.
Yeah, we don't really usually see this in Formula 2. Usually the field spread, everyone's kind of on the same strategy, bar a couple people maybe outside the top 10. But yeah, nearly half the field going for the alternate strategy today. Soft and medium tyres are what are available to the drivers today. Brazil, not known as a really hard track on tyres, so tyre wear's not going to be too much of an issue. It's going to be more about the raw pace of the actual tyre. But Toxic going out, and I think he is going to go and have some fun because he's on pole position and has gone for the alternate strategy. So we'll wait and see what he can do. Lando, Miami and Larkin on the softs, as you would expect. M Short, Verstappen and Campbell on the medium tyres. So they've gone for something different as well. Maybe Verstappen and Campbell not quite happy with their qualifying of 6th and 7th place. They want to get past maybe the two Arden drivers on a different strategy. We'll have to wait and see. Old School, Chill, Nolan and Maverick on the softs. Tim is on the medium tyres. California and Driving Dutchman on the softs. And then it's the mediums for Spag, Alex, Ibo and Zaldama towards the back of the field. Brandon and Jordan are the other two drivers on the soft compound tyres. So yeah, a real mix. And around this track, I wouldn't say that there's going to be much difference between the two strategies.
No, I wouldn't imagine so, but track position could play a role, which is why I'm surprised we're seeing so many people going for that alternate strategy up near the front. I think the XL Lando maybe will be a real threat to Toxic coming off the line. We know the extra grip he's going to have from those tyres. Toxic's going to have to work some magic if he wants to maintain that lead through the first lap. Let's see if he can pull that one off, though. It's going to be a nail-biter, I'm sure, yet again. Toxic MML. Yet again, it seems like the majority of the races have began with him guiding the field round to the front of the grid. Lando will join him alongside the front row. A familiar front row. Who's going to lead into turn one? Let's get the final feature of the race of the season underway.
Here we go then. We're just waiting for Zaldama and Brandon to line up on the back row of the grid, and then we are ready for the final feature race of the season, the penultimate race of this Formula 2 season. What a season it has been. Can Brazil provide us yet more great races? Here we go. Long hole, but the lights are out and away they go, and I think Lando's had a brilliant start off the line. We'll have to wait and see. He has. He's already ahead of Toxic. What a start from Lando. That was, even with the softer compounded tyres, he was clear of Toxic well before turn one, so Lando leads them through. Toxic now down to second place. Miami holds third ahead of Larkin in fourth. M Short in fifth. The Trident driver of Campbell tucked in right behind the back of M Short. Those drivers on the mediums haven't lost any positions as of yet. Nice and clean through the center S and then down this back straight. Just wait for them to cross the first sector point, and that was Campbell having a look down the inside of M Short, nearly losing the rear of the car on the exit of the corner. Just about holds on to it. Verstappen now trying to challenge his teammate. Remember, these two separated by only 1 point in the standings, and Chill trying to get in on the action. He's past Old School on this opening lap. Old School down to 9th and is under pressure from Nolan, who's down the inside but can't get the move done. Meanwhile, Maverick is defending from California. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2 somewhere. I think that might be Spag that's gone round towards the back of the field. Brandon's had a good start up to 16th place in the dams on those soft tyres. Try and make that 15th place as it goes down the inside of Alex down towards turn 11, gets that move done. So a great start from Brandon, but at the front of the field, dream start for Lando. He was clear of Toxic well before turn 1.
Yeah, the extra grip really played into the hands of XL Lando, and he leads the way coming to the end of the first lap. Let's see if he can pull a gap, though. Breaking out of the 1 second DRS range of this track is notoriously difficult. Let's see if he can do that inside the first 3 laps. Verstappen's having a run at his teammate, going towards the center S, looks at the inside, hangs back last minute, and the QBR Chill is also looking onto the back of him in that Prema. Let's see if he can try and force the move back then. Feel relatively close, but without DRS, the overtake's a little bit hard to come by. Spag did move past Alex, though, and trying to recover through the field. He now gets up onto the back of Brandon, pulls to the outside lane, heading down into the second sector of the lap there. Spag around the outside, he may get squeezed out there, tries to hang it around the outside and forward. He might just make that one round, you know. pinches to the inside of turn 5, and then into Ferradura turn 6, sweeps through, he's up in the 15th place, trying to recover from a less than optimal start. So now the field beginning to settle down and form into line, and let's see if any gaps are starting to form. It certainly M Short looks like he's struggling a little bit more to hang with the pace of the front row 4. So really, Toxic showing good pace at the moment. They're on those mediums. He's sticking with Lando, and on the softs near the end of the race, you sense that the champion may well have a chance of fighting back at Lando come the end.
Yeah, he's got really good pace on these medium tyres, under no pressure from Miami behind. Miami becoming under a little bit of pressure from Larkin, who's starting to crawl all over the back of the ART man, trying to get up onto the podium places. Larkin has struggled in the last few rounds to really show the pace that he had at the start of the season. This has been by far his best showing in recent rounds, and he's on the back of the ART driver. Can he get a move done down towards turn 4? Can he get the run through turn 3? Miami will have DRS off of Toxic in front, but Larkin has a great run through turn 3. Is he going to be close enough? Maverick and Nolan are running side by side coming through turn 3. Maverick's going to get the move done on Nolan. Larkin's not going to get the move done to turn 4, but Maverick is up to 10th place. Make that 3 wide though, because California is in the middle of these two drivers. Can California make a move stick? No, he backs out of it at the last moment, and Nolan tries to go round the outside of turn 4 on Alt Maverick, but can't pull it off. Maverick then inside the top 10, passes Nolan, gets up a place, and Driving Dutchman's going to capitalise on California having to back out of that battle. Driving Dutchman now runs in 12th place. California after that battle loses a place, but a little bit wide there for Driving Dutchman, and Nolan is trying to come back at Maverick. These two battling really hard in the middle part of the lap. Nolan trying to go all the way around the outside, but just doesn't have the grip or the momentum to pull it off. Maverick then up into 10th place, but just goes to show a few corners of the battling, and they are already 2 seconds behind Old School. You battle too hard here, and you lose chunks of time.
And it's so easy to go side by side throughout the entire lap then. The track invites that sort of racing, but it can catch you out if you're not too careful. Up at the front, the medium tires of Toxic are working well. He's sticking with Lando now with DRS. Lando's going to have a really hard time shaking that over his front wide in turn 1, and he's going to open the door for Toxic to sweep into the race lead. Toxic MML leads the way now out there on track. No, Lando's just live back in front of him. What on earth has gone on back then? He looked like he'd been passed on my screen, but yeah, he does get himself back up into the race lead. Miami looks like he's got good enough straight line speed to hold back Larkin for the time being, and Lando lagging everywhere on the track. That can't be exact. That's got to be off-putting, sorry, for Toxic to set that close. And I don't know if it's the same for you, Ada, but on my end, Lando really jumping around up there at the front.
Yeah, he really is on my screen as well. I saw him go wide at turn 1 and then just disappear back in front of Toxic. See, Lando unfortunately lagging a little bit. I'll tell you one thing to look out for. M Short has also got a lot of pace on these medium tyres. He's right behind his teammate Larkin at this point in the race. Zaldimer is the first one with a time penalty. That's something you don't see very often. He's the first one with an exceeding track limits time penalty. M Short, though, in that Arden is showing good pace on these medium tyres. And at this point in the race, M Short has dropped the Trident drivers. Campbell is starting to drop Verstappen as well, but for some reason, Campbell and Verstappen don't seem to have the same pace on these medium tyres that M Short or Toxic do at this point in the race. And you know what? M Short might have a run at his teammate here. Larkin has the DRS of Miami in front, but M Short had a great run coming through out of turn 13. Larkin moves to the inside line. M Short's going to go to the outside line. Is he late enough on the brakes to try and move? He is. He's trying to go all the way around the outside of turn 1. Have the inside line for turn 2. Larkin gives him the space, but Larkin will have the momentum coming into turn 3. But M Short will be right up behind his teammate coming down the back straight and towards turn 4. Toxic trying to get past Lando down towards turn 4, but isn't close enough. Does M Short dart to the inside line of his teammate? No, he doesn't. He doesn't go for the move, but M Short on those medium tyres looking very confident. And like I said, the Trident drivers just haven't been able to hook up these tyres yet, as Chill is trying to get a run down towards turn 6 and 7 around the outside. Can he pull that move off? No, he can't. But you have a sense that Chill running into the back of Verstappen. Chill is being massively held up at this point.
Yeah, he runs a little bit wide then, going in to the Pinareno, but yeah, just being held back there for the moment as Chill the Trident struggling a little bit to keep with the pace, but they still just about have DRS. Miami and Zerdmer have the penalties at the moment. That is just... It's the opposite day here. That is that is rather peculiar to see that normally those two drivers so clean, and it is sending back Miami, who is really struggling to match the absolutely brutal, relentless pace the front two are showing. And yet again, Toxic closes down Lando, heading into the steady fastest lap for the two-time champion. Can't quite get to it for the moment, as M Short lining up Larkin as well. Hangs back though, just about going through turn 1. Look at Toxic now. Surely really has a run on Lando to the outside of turn 3, opens that DRS down the right to Ophelio. Surely he has to move down here. He claims the inside line, and Toxic leads the way here in Brazil. Lando will try and get underneath him, but can't quite manage it. Again, up at the front, you see Larkin running a little bit away, coming on 4, and M. Short's looking at him, darting to the left and the right as Lando tries to come back at Toxic, runs to the grip out there. M. Short to the inside of Larkin, gets run out of space there, and Larkin doing a very good job of defending, covering off all angles, keeping his team in at bay with the pace of M. Short, and the pace that he's showing is so impressive, and he's right there with him, but all this battling is putting him under more pressure, because now Campbell has closed right up to the back. I mean, he's now pressuring both the Ardens in that battle over P4.
Yeah, they're both coming actually. Verstappen's coming with him and dragging Chill and Old School with him. Old School continuing to impress on debut. He's now 4.5 seconds clear of this battle, going on for 10th. What a queue we've got for 10th place. Maverick, Dutchman, California 5, Nolan, Tim and Spag all battling over that place, and Maverick now picks up a time penalty. We've had a number of people pick up a time penalty on this lap, and that's very easy to do around this track. When are we going to see our first pit stops? That's what's key, and we actually see them now. So at the end of lap 6, we've got a couple drivers in. Miami and Larkin are into the pit lane for a set of medium tyres. Old School's in as well, but Old School unfortunately speeds into the pit lane, so that is a 5-second time penalty for him, but at the moment he was nearly 5 seconds ahead of his teammate, so it might not affect him too much yet. Miami then, the first of the lead runners to come in for a set of medium compound tyres, which should pretty much easily get them to the end of the race. But how powerful is the undercut here? Is it going to make any difference to the gap between him and Lando? You would probably imagine, but it's not going to make really any difference at all.
Let's see if he can get those tyres switched on as soon as possible. As Toxic's disconnected. What on earth?
Ooh.
Toxic, I've not seen connection issues from him all season, and now he's giving up the race lead. Hopefully he can get back in and continue the fight, because he looked like a certain bet for the race win at that point, but now he is behind because of that disconnection. Better luck for Toxic. He'll be glad that he has that championship nice and sewn up, so it's not going to make too big of a difference, but let's see how that's going to affect things. I'm expecting Lando to come in on this lap. How much time is he going to lose, if any, to the drivers that came in on that last lap? Miami is the leader of that. Larkin just outside that DRS range, and Larkin will try and put some distance between himself and M. Short and the likes. Ooh. As Lando gets a penalty now, 5 seconds spinning in the pit lane. That's the third one I've seen as Toxic does get back into the lobby. But all these penalties wrapping up, these drivers really struggling with that pit lane entry, and the penalties that we're seeing being accumulated could really change the dynamic of this race.
As now Maverick is the next one to pick one up as well in the Carlin, so a lot of people being caught out by the slow speed limit here. Obviously it is 37 miles an hour I believe in Formula 2, so it's even slower than it is in Formula 1, and people are getting caught out by it. That's, like I said, I think 4 drivers now that have picked up a speeding penalty in the pit lane. Where does Lando come out then relative to Miami? Remember, it is a very weird pit exit here, all the way down through 1s, 2 and 3. Miami is nowhere near Lando. Lando's already out of the pit lane, and Miami is coming round the third corner now, and in fact Lando's seemingly extended the gap ever so slightly over the past lap on those soft tyres, so the soft tyres look to be holding up well. They didn't really lose a lot of pace, as Toxic is back in his car, but I think he's still losing places. No, he's not actually in his car as of yet, so M. Short and Campbell are now ahead of Toxic, so Toxic's car continues to fall through the field at this point in the race, but Lando comes out onto the track in 9th place. What is crucial for Lando's race now is that he gets through the traffic as quickly as possible.
Let's see what a job he can do of that. You can see that Toxic's AI car drops in the 4th. Look at Campbell though, he's really come alive in the last few laps, and he's challenging M. Short now for the race lead. Is he going to go for it in a turn 1? He lights it up, yes he does. Campbell though, M. Short very, very little. Campbell runs into him, forces him out wide. He's still keeping the fight going. Campbell barges his way through and gets into the race lead, and will have DRS to defend that. He's not opening it. They're very, very strange as now. M. Short to the outside, trying to fight it back. Around the outside of turn 4, gets his nose in front and sweeps around the outside. Campbell, a bit of oversteer, has the shorter run though through turn 5. Turn 6, the advantage will be with M. Short. The shorter run breaks a little bit later into Ferradura. Now in a turn 8 there, who's going to get the upper hand then? Does M. Short dive it? No, he doesn't. And Campbell, it was aggressive, but he just about saw it through, fended off the counter attack from M. Short, and he has to settle for second. Verstappen is now right with these two. So Campbell in front of M. Short, but these guys, they're all battling, and they need to make sure they're getting out in that DRS range of the guys that they were battling. Campbell's been really thrust forward into the pound seat here. How far can he climb? And maybe Campbell, if he can make that reverse strategy work, could it be on for a podium, or maybe even even a win here if he can really charge at the end.
He really has come alive in the last 2 laps. He was nowhere at the start of this race on those medium tyres, and now all of a sudden he's found some pace. M-Short's going to try and come back at him though towards turn 1. Has he got a run on the back of the Trident Man? He's going to look to the inside line, and Campbell decides not to defend it. M-Short's back down the inside of turn 1. He's going to get the move done. Campbell slots back in behind, maybe going for the DRS down towards turn 4, but M-Short gets a brilliant run through turn 2. Campbell might not be close enough to make the move, and in fact Verstappen's closer to his teammate than Campbell is to M-Short, who's going to get the best one though down towards turn 4 as they break for the corner. M-Short's just going to hold on. Great move from M-Short to get back into the net race lead, but as these three battle, they continue to lose time. Lando, with the fastest lap of the race, has already caught the back of Zaldama. He's passed Alex and is now on the back of Zaldama. He's flying along. Look at the gap he's pulled in Miami. It's nearly 4 and a bit seconds at this point in the race as M-Short now picks up a time penalty for exceeding track limits. Lando is absolutely flying on these medium tyres, and those staying out on the medium tyres don't seem to have a lot of pace anymore.
And Larkin, look at Miami now. Miami's pace doesn't seem particularly good on these mediums, and now the man fighting for second in the championship beginning to rein him in. Let's see how that battle unfolds, but Miami struggling a little bit after a great quality performance that we saw from him. Look at Lads though, he's all over Zaldama. Surely Zaldama doesn't even have an answer to defend this one. I saw Beneviel's out there on track. Look at Lando, he's trying to line him up into Junshao. Is he going to have a run at the inside line? He looks towards the inside. Is he going to dive it? Yes, he is. XL Lando for 7th place. Tries to get the move done. He has his nose in front. Coming out of the corner of Zaldama, I think we'll have DRS to retaliate. Yes, he will. So this battle is not over yet, but up in the front. Campbell on M-Short now. To the inside now. Heading into turn 4. Can he get a move done this time? Campbell nose in front, but he can't quite complete it. M-Short still around the outside. Gets squeezed a little bit by Campbell. Campbell with a short one. Again squeezes M-Short to the edge of the track. Almost off the track. And M-Short 17 has the yielded, and QVR Verstappen is right with them as well. But they all form into line now as Zaldama and Lando still battling away. This time Lando claims the inside line for turn 4, gets the move done, and now Larkin breezes past Miami, gets through in a 10th place. He may try and chase out Alex and later Zaldama as well. Action galore here. Brazil Racing, sensational. When are the leaders going to come into the pit lane from those medium tyres, and where are they going to emerge with Lando's pace at the moment that he's showing, breezing past all the drivers around him? Lando could have a great lead going through once these pit stops are all sorted out, but that 5-second penalty to his name, how much could that cost him?
I was just about to say that 5-second penalty could massively cost him as Larkin trying to go round the outside of turn 12. A move on Alex is going to put it off. He is. What a move from Larkin. And now down the inside, Miami is going to try and get the move done at Junshao. Can he get that car stopped? Oh, and he picked up a time penalty and slides wide as well. Holds on to the car, but that's going to cost him heaps of time. And now Chill is closing in on these two as well. Chill's absolutely flying on these medium tyres. He's nearly onto the back of Miami. Meanwhile, Verstappen has got past M-Short, and M-Short's now down into 3rd place, so it's a Trident 1-2, but they are still yet to make a pit stop at this point in this race. So M-Short, they're still waiting. Toxic's back in his car. He's starting to close back in as well. Spag and Tim yet to pit, and now Lando, he's got masses of clean track right in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about traffic holding him up anymore, but the problem for Lando in this race is that Larkin is within that 5-second penalty range at this point in the race. So Larkin is in the pound seat to take the win if he can close in on Lando. Can Lando continue to extend that gap over Larkin, or can Larkin stay in the 5 seconds? That's what's crucial to this race. And I'll tell you what, Campbell, Verstappen and M-Short's battle at this point in the race, I think is going to drop them behind Chill and possibly behind Old School.
Yeah, because the field is still relatively close up near the front. All this battling and against cars that are on fresher tyres to them. How much is that going to cost them here? Verstappen now may challenge Campbell in this relentless battle over the race lead, but he backs off, closes the DRS. He's hanging back into turn 1. Does he think, as Campbell locks up there as well, are they going to work together as a team, or is Verstappen holding back, maybe looking for a better opportunity? These guys are locked in a championship fight here as well, so they are not going to be lying down and letting each other go, I suspect. Now let's look here as to where these guys are all going to emerge from the pit stops. M-Short out of his box, but they are way behind. Look at the jump these guys are going to have on them. M-Short was at the tail end of that Trident pairing, And if you look now, as he emerges from the pit lane, he is going to be right in amongst it. As you mentioned, he's going to be behind Chill, and Alex and Old School are coming round. Old School moves alongside the Universe Jose. Alex claims the inside line, and he's going to make the move stick. He moves up into 10, but now, surely he can't stay with M Short. M Short fresh. Soft tires under, will try and make the most of it and pull away up in the front of that battle. But let's see how far he can climb. He's 2 seconds behind Chill, but that's a gator as to where the Tridents are going to emerge. One of them surely is going to have to pit on this lap as Toxic now moves past Alex. Campbell dies in the pit lane. So Campbell in there pulling off an overcut and outwhacks the pit stop. And where does he come out relative to M Short, who has that 1 lap undercut on him?
I'm shocked that neither one of the Trident drivers came in on the previous lap, because they are going to lose out massively at this point in the race. They're not going to have enough time on these soft compound tyres. Soft compound tyres did 7 to 8 laps for those that started on them, and at this point in the race, Campbell is only going to be doing 7 and Verstappen's only going to be doing 6. So Verstappen's really costing himself by staying out and playing second fiddle to his teammate, and this is only going to help Campbell in his battle for 3rd in the standings along with Larkin. Where does Campbell come out to relative to M Short? Has M Short been able to undercut Campbell, or is Campbell's pace? Oh, Campbell's hit the wall in the pit lane. I think he might have just got away with it. We'll have to wait and see.
How close it is.
He's there. M Short's right behind him. Campbell is going to defend the inside line. He forces M Short on the grass. M Short's on the grass in the braking zone, and M Short is not going to be happy with that. Campbell puts him on the grass to hold the place, and Campbell holds 6th, but does have damage. So Campbell, a crucial error in the pit lane, puts it in the wall on the exit of the pit lane and has damaged his front wing. So that's only going to amount more pressure on him from M Short and Toxic behind. But that was an aggressive defense from Campbell that M Short is not going to be happy with.
I'm almost certain there was some decent lag between them, because that's the 3rd time I've seen in this race where Campbell's not given any space. Verstappen picks up a time penalty entering the pit lane. But just quickly going back to that, I think that Campbell and M Short have some desync issue. I know Campbell, he's not a dirty driver, but some of his moves on M Short have been quite reckless, to be honest, and I suggest that those cars are not in the same position to what they appear on stream. Let's see though where Verstappen's going to come out. He has of course got that penalty to his name. How much will that cost him, as M Short and Campbell may go to battle yet again to the inside? M Short tries to get the move done and stuck there. Campbell again locks it all up, has the inside for turn 2, forces M Short waiting again and Toxic now, letting them both up then. This is going to be dramatic on the exit. Where's Verstappen? He's going to be just shy, as now alongside goes Toxic and Campbell, wheel to wheel in a turn 4, and Toxic gets the high ground and gets a place. So perfect back, we're seeing it. M Short has gone off there because he's losing out now, and he is side by side with Old School trying to keep that inside line for Verador. Old School pinches him onto the inside line, but he's going to run out wide, as now Verstappen and Campbell. Campbell wants to run wide to the inside. M Short trying to see the move through. Old School tries to hang it round, but a turn 8 M Short finally sees it through, gets the move done up in 8. But that mistake on the last lap, how much is that cost? We now have yellows further up the road. Who's going off? Toxic's up to the centre road. Toxic's going off there, going through turn 11, recovers. He now drops by an M Short. The Tridents go through. Campbell is virtually the only person in this field without a penalty besides Toxic, and Old School now on the back of Toxic. This race is manic, and we have just about 5 laps to go here in Interlagos, here in this dramatic feature race. The racing has been simply phenomenal as Toxic holds back Old School, looks towards the inside line. Little update on the front battle that we haven't looked at in a while. Lando leads, he needs 5 seconds, he has 4.2, this can go down to the wire. Can Lando keep pulling out, or can Larkin stay within that 5-second window that he needs in the last 5 laps of this feature race here in Brazil?
I was just about to say that Toxic could have ended back on the podium if he got close enough to the back of Verstappen, Chill and Miami with the penalties they all had, but he spun himself almost out of contention, and he's got to get the move done on M Short if he wants to put himself back into contention for a podium spot in this race. But he's going to struggle to do so because there is a queue of cars in front of him all the way up the front of the field. Someone's backed off to the side of the road. That is ISRL Jordan, I think, that's gone off to the side of the road there, so that's no worry for him. He's dropped behind Ibo though, down to 19th place. So a disastrous race for Jordan so far, Lando continues to lead. He's pulling about 0.3 of a second a lap on Larkin. So at this point in the race, that might be enough to see Larkin off. But Larkin, without that penalty, is in a good spot. Miami, having struggled at the start of this stint on those medium tyres, has pulled away from Chill. And Larkin hasn't disappeared too far off into the distance. So he seems to have found a rhythm on these medium tyres. And at the moment is securing himself a third place finish. But Verstappen and Campbell might have something to say about that. Verstappen's going to look to the inside line of Chill. Down towards turn 1. He's late on the brakes. Chill's going to leave him the inside line, but that will be even compromised for turn 2. Verstappen's going to try and do a move around the outside of turn 3, but he's not close enough. Can he get the run down towards turn 4? Both of penalties on different strategies. Chill parks it in the middle of the road. Verstappen goes to the inside line, down towards turn 4, and he's going to get the move done on the brakes. Yes, he is. Verstappen's up into 4th place. Can he challenge Miami for 3rd place? Can he get close enough? Chill's trying to come back at him down towards turn 7 and 8, but he's not quite close enough. He's not going to make the move. Meanwhile, in the background, Campbell with that damage now loses out to both M. Shaw and Toxic. Campbell down to 8th.
Yeah, you sense he cannot hold that back. It almost seems an inevitability he's going to lose out. Toxic into the back of M Short then. And again, M Short going spinning off to the side. There was contact between him and M Short. Straight into the wall. He's been in the wars here tonight. And I think it's that D-Sig again. M Short seems to be in a different place on the track because Toxic just drove clean into the back of him there. So M Short spinning out. He looks like he's got away without damage. But a race that could have been a podium so easily. Now he's in a 9th place then. Disaster for M Short 17. He's driving so well given his lack of experience in these cars, but down to 9th, surely now he's not going to be able to get up any higher. He's got nearly 5 seconds now to Old School in front.
Yeah, that is a real tough ask for him. And Old School and M Short both on the same amount of penalties, so M Short will have to make the move, stick on track. At this point in the race, Old School is gonna come home with reverse grid pole position on his debut. That would be some drive from Old School. He's stuck himself kind of in 8th place, just sitting back and watching all the carnage happen in front of him and capitalising on it. Meanwhile, Chill has now been overtaken by his teammates, so Toxic is back up into 5th place, and that will be 4th when Verstappen serves his penalty. So Toxic is starting to put himself back in contention in this race. Can he get close enough to Miami to capitalise on his penalty? Miami still 2.5 seconds clear of Verstappen, so Verstappen's not closing in that quickly on the back of the ART man. Can he hold on for a podium finish after what was a massive struggle for him at the start of this race? Lando, though, in the last lap has gained massively on Larkin. It's 5.6 seconds. Lando in a class of his own at the front of the field.
And you sense that Larkin's going to struggle to make that back. Lando's phenomenal pace at the front is really coming to the fore here. He now leads by a margin that he needs. 5 seconds he needs, 5.6. The gap. He now just has to see it through in these last 2 laps of the feature race here at Interlagos. So let's see, close battles back there on track. Spag is trying to light out Driving Dutchman. He has some fresh soft tyres on. Can he make them work for an overtake there? Driving Dutchman is going to leave him the inside lane as Verstappen's off. Verstappen spinning at turn 2. Drops now to the back of the train. He's down into 8th place and Verstappen making the error. It's been a messy race for Trident and general. It could have been so much more for them, but now Verstappen down to 8th, but can he salvage reverse grid pole out of that? Spag was able to get past Driving Dutchman. He's up into 11th, but Verstappen spinning it out now. I don't think he was really anywhere near other cars, trying to make the gap to recover from that speeding penalty. Now down to 8th place, and you said that he's going to really struggle to make things back with just a lap and a half to go in this race.
Yeah, and Campbell and Verstappen both needed to outscore Larkin by 3 points in this race so that they could battle for 2nd place in the standings into the sprint race. At the moment, Larkin is doing enough to secure 2nd place in the championship with this drive. It's been one of Larkin's better drives so far in the second half of the season, and uncharacteristic for Trident. They've really been struggling in this race. Campbell still struggling with that damage, is about to get caught by Old School on those medium tyres. We're on to the last lap of this race. Where has this race gone? Lando now leads on to lap 20, 6.3 seconds clear of Larkin, so unless it's a mistake from Lando, Larkin is not going to take the race victory away from him. Zaldimer, meanwhile, trying to come back through the field after damage earlier on. Uncharacteristic for Zaldimer that he's struggled so much in this race. He's passed Tim and is up into 15th place, but he will not get any higher than that. 21.5 seconds is the gap to California, who runs 14th, directly behind Nolan, who runs 13th. And there's still a lot going on in the background. Spag is trying to get the move on a Maverick, but P10 in this race on those soft tyres. Can he find a way maybe down towards turn 4 and get past the Carlin driver? Is going to look to the inside line. Maverick can't go all the way to the inside line in time. Spag down the inside of turn 4, breaks late, and is going to get the move done. He's up into the top 10, but he's run a little bit wide. Maverick's trying to come back at him, but Maverick isn't close enough to make the move stick. So Spag is up into 10th place, and it looks like he might hold that, although Driving Dutchman with one less penalty, with no penalty, sorry, could take 10th place away from the pair of them at this point in the race. But we're going to go back to Lando as he comes through Zhongshan for the last time, and now up the hill through turns 14 and 15 to finish off what has been a stellar race. Unfortunately, his closest competition, Toxic, was taken out of action through lag problems at the start of the session, but Lando's going to cross the line and win the feature race here in Brazil. Larkin will cross the line. He will miss out on the win by 1.5 seconds on penalties. Miami will cross the line in third, but I think Toxic is going to take the podium place off of him. No, he doesn't. He doesn't take it in the end, which is a little bit bizarre. I think he was within penalty range, and Campbell is going to jump the lot of them on penalties. My word, Campbell jumps up to 4th place. Chill ends up in 6th ahead of Old School 7th. Verstappen does get reverse grid pole position in the end in 8th place by 83 thousandths of a second over M Short, who just misses out. What a shame for M Short. He was battered and bruised throughout that race. Driving Dutchman does get the last spot in the top 10 ahead of Spag Chips. Excel Nolan in 12th ahead of Maverick in 13th, California. And now we just wait for Zaldemar, Tim and Alex to finish this race. What a crazy race that was. And Lando in the end, class of his own at the front of the field, takes the race win, and Larkin secures 2nd place in the championship.
Yeah, I think that is actually going to wrap it up for Larkin in the end, seeing it through with that drive to 2nd place. But yeah, Lando, without Toxic pushing him up at the front, really just moved away and drove superbly. I do think that Toxic had a fair chance of winning that race, but of course the connection issues unfortunately worked against him there. Let's now reflect on the feature race. We have, amazingly, just one round left in an absolutely enthralling season. We've seen 35 races, 17.5 rounds, but it all has to end someday. We are now going to go for what is going to be a poignant final race of the season, a sprint race, and I hope for your final commentary for a while in this division. I do certainly hope the drivers are going to make it a good one. Quickly, let's reflect on the results. Lando does win the day. Larkin to 2nd place does wrap up 2nd into the standings. Miami drives a solid race to 3rd, just holding on in front of Campbell. Toxic didn't have any penalties according to even these results, so I don't know why he's in 5th. I feel like he should be in P3. We may get some explanation for that. Chill, one of his better results of the season, does get 6th ahead of a great debut from Old School and 7th. Verstappen and M Short had messy races. They end up 8th and 9th. Driving Dutchman does secure 10th on penalties. In the end, Spag has to settle for 11th up from 15th on the grid. Nolez 12th in front of Maverick. California, Zonema, a poor race from him. Then there's the Univirtuoses of Tim and Alex on the lead lap. Then off the lead lap, you have Jordan, Ebo, and Brandon, who had connection issues, I know, to round off the penultimate race of the season. And now to the final race, the sprint race, coming up for you guys soon enough. So let's wrap it off. Let's make this sprint race a good one to sign us off for what has been an incredible season of racing. Pretty much all the battles, I'd say, are wrapped up as of now. But hopefully these drivers can go out and give us a great show one last time.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think Chill has done enough in just the first race of the season as well to hold on to 6th place ahead of Lando in the standings. So that is how it's going to end for those two in the championship, I believe. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, we could be completely wrong, but I do think Chill has done enough just in the feature race to hold on to 6th place in the standings. So that's pretty much all the championship battles over. So this last round of the season is just all to play for who gets the final win of the season. Let's see who is going to get the final win of Season 3 of Formula 2. What a season it has been. We've had so many ups and downs this season, so many different race winners, so many different championship protagonists at different points in the season, but in the end, Toxic is the one that has come out on top with flying colours. 2 seasons in a row he has won Formula 2. Formula 2 next season, to watch from the sidelines for me, is going to be something to behold, because can Toxic hold on and make it 3 championships in a row in Formula 2, or can we see maybe the likes of Lando, maybe M Short, maybe Larkin, Campbell and Verstappen properly go for that championship? We are lagging a little bit, unfortunately. I think we have got a bit of a problem with the lobby. I'm not sure, unless we are just waiting for people to ready up. But unfortunately, hopefully we get the final sprint race underway. But yeah, I can't wait for Formula 2 to watch it from the sidelines next season. It is going to be a cracking championship battle.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't disagree with you on that. And of course, I will be in the comments box yet again next season. Hopefully we can get someone else alongside me to try and replace you, Aiden. But we'll see how that works out. As of now, I think we may actually, looking more for next season, I believe we may be having enough sign-ups to potentially have a two-tiered championship. So that could be very, very exciting to behold. Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get this race underway, though. We are still loading. Maybe someone's holding the lobby back, but we do certainly have some issues. Hopefully the game doesn't crash and our stream will crash as a result. Let's hope that doesn't come to pass. But yeah, it looks like we are having some technical issues here. Apologies.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Brandon has just left the session, so maybe that will trigger something for these drivers. We'll wait and see, but hopefully we do get the sprint race underway. But obviously the problem with the Formula 2 category in this game is you can't just do a sprint race, and we have done it in the past. I know in a previous Formula 2 race where someone tried to do a quick 3-lap formation for the feature race and then tried doing the sprint race separately, and the grid was all wrong, so that ended up being the incorrect. They ended up getting the incorrect results from that one, unfortunately. We'll have to wait and see. We'll let you know if we do get the sprint race underway or whether we do end on the feature race, which if we do end on the feature race, that's a bit of a premature end to the season, unfortunately. We'll have to wait and see. And tune in as well if we get the sprint race underway, tune in after the sprint race is complete, because we're going to get the top 4 in the championship into this party, so we can just have a quick chat with them and they can run over what's happened to them this season and what they're looking forward to next season. We'll have to wait and see. But just going into the last round of the season, I think we've got to put a word in for Old School as well. First race of this, I mean, he's chosen a great first race of the season to be possibly the last race of the season, but a great debut from him. He kind of run a little bit under the radar, but kept out of trouble and came home with a 7th place finish.
Yeah, he was bang on the pace straight away, I must say. He was fighting up there with some very seasoned drivers in this division. So yeah, certainly very impressive from Old School. I'm wondering if he's going to step up to the plate next season as well. Maybe could put together a full championship campaign. We'll see what he can do in that. Judging by that, I think he can mount quite a bit of a challenge to some of the top drivers in the championship. We're just going to see if we can get some updates soon enough for you guys. I do know that Lobby Host and F2 organisers Erdema has jumped out of the lobby, and I think we probably will get another lobby going forward. But yeah, just looking at what we have there, I'm not sure if I'm guessing you've seen it as well, Aidan, the proposal that we have in the LOE Discord about doing a 25% feature race with a custom grid. Could that work?
I mean, I think it probably could work. We wouldn't have the same amount of laps, but it's kind of it's a similar distance to a sprint race. It'd only be 10 laps long, and I think the sprint race around this track, if I remember correctly, is either 13 or 14. So it would be a bit of a shorter race, but I mean, less laps, less opportunities to get your overtakes in. So who knows? A shorter race, we could get an even crazier result. So we'll have to wait and see. We're just having a look as well. We've got some other suggestions as well in the Discord just to see how we could fit this all in. So we're maybe running a 3-lap feature race and people finish in the order that they finish this race, and maybe it will reverse the grid for the sprint race. We'll have to wait and see. But just another thing we'll talk about as well for Formula 2 next season. I believe the calendar has been announced for Formula 2 next season, if I remember correctly. We'll just have a look at that for you in a second. We'll try and find that for you. We'll just have to wait and see. But obviously, next season we're not going to be running with the 18 race calendar like we have this season. There's only going to be 10 races next season, which means that it's all that more important to get the rounds in and get the results in as quickly as possible, which is something that Larkin did very well at the start of this season. So maybe that's more in kind to what Larkin maybe needs to be successful in Formula 2.
Well, I think it can really work both ways. To be honest, just a couple of bad rounds, like we saw from Toxic earlier on in the season, that can really cost you. So there's going to be a lot more pressure round to round on the guys that want to be fighting up there for the championship. That can make things very, very thrilling to behold. But yeah, 10 rounds. Given that we seem to have a bit of downtime here, just going to run it through for you guys very quickly. So you open the season in a rather familiar fashion at Bahrain. Next second round is going to be at Sochi. Third round at China, fourth round at Singapore, fifth round at Monaco, sixth round at Belgium, round 7 will be at Baku, round 8 at Silverstone. Penultimate round will be at Paul Ricard, and the final round will be at the Red Bull Ring in now we actually seem to be getting underway, but I suspect that we'll probably get another lobby set up.
Yeah, I think XL Zadamar, our lobby host, has just created another lobby for us. He's getting ready to sort out a custom grid for us, so we'll have to wait and see what becomes of this. I think by the sounds of it, we are going to be running a 25% feature race. We'll have to wait and see what is going to be. If it is a 25% feature race, only 10 laps for this race if it's a 25% feature race. So that is going to be something to behold. 10 laps around Brazil with no pit stops in a reverse grid order. That is going to be, well, possibly carnage from start to finish, so maybe the shorter the race distance, the better it is.
Well, one point to make: if it's a feature race they're going to be doing, does that mean that they'll have a mandatory pit stop to make?
That is the case, yeah. Probably they will have to do a mandatory pit stop, so that is one thing we'll have to maybe try and we'll have to try and figure that one out. We'll have to wait and see, but we'll obviously send that into to Zadamar and see if he knows if that is the case. But if that is the case, then they will have to get a pit stop in these 10 laps in this race if that is what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, no, there's very unique as to what we've been doing all season. I can't really think of any other way you're going to make it. You can't. I mean, I guess you could technically run through a feature race just as a de facto. Just as a race, it doesn't really count. But then you have to get everyone in the right order. It's just a bit of a nightmare, really. Yeah, I think I reckon it's probably we could have a 3-lap formation race if we really want to be accurate.
Yeah, I mean that would be we tried something like that before in the past, and something that I've commentated on in Formula 2, and it's a little bit of a weird sight watching people doing 3 formation laps. At least it's Brazil, at least it's a short track. I mean, if this was Spa or something like that, then I think we'd be I think maybe we want to pull our eyeballs out, because that might be a little bit boring, but we'll have to wait and see. But either way, we are trying to get a final race of the season. We want to get obviously this season rounded off in some sort of way, so we'll have to wait and see how that plans. But I think by the sounds of it, what is going to happen is we are going to do a 25% feature race, so these drivers are going to have to make a pit stop in the final round of the season.
Well, that is going to be manic. I can imagine the pit lane drama heading through there. That is going to really mix things up throughout the race. But I guess for the final event of the season, yeah, we may as well make things a little bit unique. I guess that's we can run that mentality to get around things. So yeah, that should be very, 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 very enjoyable to spectate on our end, as it has always been, I'm sure. So yeah, it's and obviously I believe it's going to be after lap 3. To serve the mandatory pit stop, or these drivers are going to get disqualified. So it's a very, very, very odd situation that we have going on here. But it could make for a rather interesting race, and probably with I imagine maybe a few wild strategies in there to try and mix things up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with only 10 laps in this race, I mean, theoretically, if people wanted maybe at the back of the field, what they could do is start on a set of medium compound tyres, do 3 laps, get to the 3-lap pits, that minimum 3-lap 3 pit window. There we go. Let's get my words out properly. I'm starting to forget how to talk in this final comments for Formula 2, but they could pit at the end of lap 3 for their mandatory pit stop window, go onto the softs, and the soft tyres should last them to the end of the race. So we are going to see quite a lot of weird strategies, I think, in this race.
Yeah, and that's going to be very fascinating to see how it affects things. It could be a race that we may not know who's actually fighting for it until the very last lap, when everything is going to be resolved. So yeah, very very unique. I think we have is that XL Lando that's hosting the lobby? I think we're the last 2 that have been invited. So
I believe so. Yeah.
You feel quite left out there.
You've just joined the lobby now. Zadamar is the host of the lobby. I think we're just waiting for California 5 and Zadamar to be in a car. We'll have to wait and see. California 5 has just got into his car. Zadamar's not in his car yet, but he is setting up the custom grid for us as we speak. So we'll have to wait and see how quickly he can get that done. And obviously, thanks to Zadamar as well for setting up this lobby and for hosting Formula 2, obviously the entire season as well. He is the organiser for Formula 2, and he has done a stellar job this season of bringing us a great season. And before we get into the final race of the season, just a couple of talking points really. What's been your highlight this season, Dan?
Uh, it's hard to really. Honestly, it's hard to pick out highlights. I'll pick out a race that stand out. I think the USA feature race was probably my favourite of the entire season. Was just absolutely immense and an absolute roller coaster. Another one that I'd say another race that was absolutely superb was the Austrian sprint race. I think those two races where you didn't really know who was going to come out on top until the very end, and the racing in both of them was just spectacular to watch. I think those two races were probably my overall highlight of the season, at least from an action standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me as well, that Austrian sprint race was, I think for me, obviously that race we had last time out was absolutely incredible, but I still do think that Austrian sprint race was something to behold. That was such a fun race to commentate over, especially with the difficult conditions that they were in, seeing those drivers sliding about battling for position. That was so much fun to watch. But we are getting ready then to ready up for the final round of the season. Thank you to Zadama for doing the custom grid for us. And as Zadama says, fingers crossed, the grid is all correct. We'll have to wait and see. Verstappen will be on pole position for the final round of the season ahead of Old School on the front row. So Verstappen now has a great opportunity of picking up a race victory here and sealing that third place in the championship over his teammate Campbell. But he's going to have to hope for a bit of bad luck for Campbell, because Campbell quite heavily outscored him in that first race tonight.
Yeah, if I could just try and verify that, Campbell, in rather weird circumstances, I believe got P4. I want to say in the feature race, while Verstappen got 8th, I believe. So that's an 8-point swing. The gap is going to be 9 points heading into the final race of the season, and that is going to take a massive result in Verstappen's favour. If Campbell can even get himself inside the top 6, then even the top 7 actually, because I think he has more wins this season than Verstappen, and that'll be enough for him to win that ebbing and flowing Trident teammate battle, which has been a real joy to watch. Those two drivers have been so evenly matched, and I think it has been by far the closest partnership that we've seen this season.
It really has, and it just shows as well in the Teams Championship they have quite a big lead in the Teams Championship over Prema, and considering how dominant Toxic has been in the second half of this season for that Prema team, and Chill has had some good rounds himself as well, Trident still have come out on top with an absolute, just a stellar lineup. Those two really have been level pegging pretty much all season long. It's only really been mistakes from either one of the driver that has set them apart, and coming into the final round of the season they're only 1 point apart, so just goes to show how close they were in this one. Nolan's been disqualified from the formation lap, but 10 lap race ahead of us, so this is going to be really, really interesting. This is something a little bit different, and I think everyone has taken my advice, because everyone is starting on the medium compound tyres. This is something I have not seen before, where everyone's gone for the alternate strategy, but it makes sense to go to the 3-lap pit stop window. Oh, it's Toxic, I think. Was that Toxic or was that Chill that ended up in the wall? I think that was Toxic that put himself in the wall there. But yeah, everyone doing as little amount as laps as they can on these medium tyres and going to the softs as early as possible.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the field was absolutely unanimous. Maybe they were forced into that strategy. It's Toxic again, cutting turn 6. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I think we actually have a bit of a revelation here. It's Toxic spins again. What on earth's going on there? We actually have confirmation from Zerima that because the race is this length, you don't need. I don't think the drivers are actually going to need to stop. That's probably why everyone's been put onto that strategy. So. Yeah, that's something that was a little bit surprising. I think we were expecting a mandatory stop ahead of this race, but yeah, that's going to make that makes a lot more sense to why every single driver has opted for that medium tyre ahead of this final round. So that is going to make things absolutely thrilling to behold. Toxic gets back into his 4th place on the grid. Probably one of his highest spots on a reverse grid going into a race. Let's see what he can make of that. It is going to be QBR Verstappen. It's his teammate that has dominated most of the reverse grid races this season. Let's see if Verstappen can follow suit. Old School will join him on the front row. And for your final race of the foreseeable future, I usually take the start of these sprint races, but for one last time, Aidan, take it away.
Oh god, you're going to make me tear up. I'm going to start crying all the way through this race now after you said that. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's such a shame that this is going to be my final Formula 2 race for a while, but it has been an absolutely incredible season and I cannot wait. We've got a really, really odd race to finish off the season. Only 10 laps to go to the end of the Formula 2 season. What a season it's been. Who is going to pick up a race victory? Are we going to see another first-time winner this season? Is Verstappen going to pick up yet another victory this season? Who's going to come out on top? The lights coming on then ahead of the drivers. Verstappen on a roll, go off the front row. A really long hole, but away they go. And Old School, great reactions to the light. Verstappen didn't move when the lights went out. Has Old School got the run into turn one? The second phase of the start is with Verstappen, but Old School late on the brakes down the inside. Can he get that move done? No, he can't. Verstappen around the outside of turn one, just about holds on. Meanwhile, in the background, Chill cuts the inside of turn two, so Toxic is now up into third place. Great start from him. Campbell runs fifth, and then a bit further back there, it seems clean all the way to the back of the field. Ibbo's had a bad start to the back, so has Nolan on those cold tyres that he had after being disqualified on the formation. Up and down the inside goes Campbell now on Chill. And Miami finds a gap somehow and gets his car through, and there was a bit of front wing flying off as more cars, someone's in the wall in the background. I think that was California 5 that was in the wall along with Nolan, as Lando's now past Chill, and now M Short's trying to get the move done on Chill as well down the inside line. Can he get that move done down the inside? He started 9th in this race. He's going to look around the outside of the next corner. Can he pull it off? Chill will have the inside line and forces M Short off the road, and M Short's still there though down the inside. Can he get that one stopped? I think he can. Meanwhile, Toxic's running side by side with Old School through turn 12. Old School's going to force him onto the curb, but Toxic's going to go right round the outside on the grass on the braking zone for turn 13. They're still side by side. Somehow Old School is holding on to this Toxic with more momentum around the outside, and now Campbell's trying to get on the outs as well. They're going to go 3 wide here. Toxic's got the place, and now Campbell's trying to get the move done on Old School as well, and Campbell's down the inside of Toxic right on the left hand side of the track for turn 1. Can he get that car stopped on the inside of the Prema? Driver is going to lock up nearly into the side of him. A little bit of contact, but they get away with it, and Toxic is going to hold that second place. Lando's got Miami, but here comes Campbell round the outside of turn 3, and now they are going to go 3 wide as Old School gets the slipstream off the back of the Prema. Driver moves to the inside line for turn 4. Who's going to go for it down here? I think Toxic's late enough on the brakes to just hold on. Old School gets squirrely on the exit of the corner, and now Lando's 4th all of a sudden. Old School loses out, and Toxic just about holds on, but that has given Verstappen the break he needs to try and win this race.
What a display of wheel-to-wheel racing that was! Completely sensational! Old School got squeezed out there by Campbell and just caught his rear tyre. That's what's sent him round, and that's why Lando got out into that 4th place. What a great evening Lando is having. He is now chasing down this podium fight, but can Toxic cab over by the way, as he will try and chase down QVR Verstappen up in the race lead. Gap is 2 seconds up there at the front. So let's see now how the field is going to filter through. We head on to the 3rd lap now on the final race of the season, and you can see XL Lando trying to line up Campbell in that battle over 3rd place. He's gaining slipstream and momentum's with him. Looks to the inside line, hangs back on the brakes. Campbell able to cover it off, and now the DRS in a play. Big oversteer moment for Lando coming over turn 2, and that will just give Campbell that breathing space that he needs to maintain that 3rd place for the back of the field. Larkin laid out Spag, can't quite find a way through. Larkin's not had a great start to this final race of the season. He'll feel fortunate that he's managed to wrap things up as of that last race and the feature just before this one. You see Zerma lighting up Maverick. These guys are fighting to the nail for their positions as Chell's went right back, and he's in the wall. Chell shoveled back in the field, now runs into the wall, and Jordan's off as well, spinning there at turn 5. 2 drivers off the road. Miami's got damage. He's come into the pit lane on lap 1. Disaster for all of those drivers. So you can see the incident has definitely come to pass on this start as Larkin to the inside of Jude Sherwood's back. No, hangs back there, thinks better of that move there. What a first 3 laps of speed is that. Brandon off then, going through turn 11, spearing off to the side of the dams, and he now goes down into that 18th place into the final race of the season. Stakes are low as Larkin now to the inside of Spag. Big hole, wheel to wheel, over the line, the inside line, as with Larkin though in the place, as with Larkin, the Arden gets the stop, gets it turned in front. Oh, the QVR driver has to yield that one. Does he have DRS though, Larkin? No, he doesn't. So now Spag can fade it back then. Going into turn 4, then goes back to the inside line, breaks a little bit later as well. Larkin's going to pinch him to the inside line, runs it out wide, and Larkin secures 7th place. Chillis retired in the pit lane. He's had enough. It's now Lando looking to Campbell. Round the outside, no, that one gets covered off. Campbell defending that 3rd place very, very nicely, but he's losing that DRS. Toxic charging it for Verstappen. Aiden Carter, what a now that we've been treated to. This final race has been phenomenal so far.
Absolutely brilliant racing throughout the field. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Lando still trying to get that moved on Campbell, but isn't close enough. M Short's now trying the move on Old School. What a start to the race from M Short, from 9th on the grid up to 6th place. We have a yellow flag. Brandon spun yet again down towards turn 5. He's lost the car. It's been a bit chaotic towards the back of the field. Didn't see where Miami picked up the damage, but he was in like the end of lap 2 to replace that front wing. So his race has gone horribly wrong, having run 5th place in the early phases of this race, running whether he and Chill came into contact a bit earlier on. M Short with the DRS open, but Old School has the DRS as well. Meanwhile, Lando is going for the move down the inside of Campbell towards turn 1, and this could massively help Verstappen here as Campbell loses a place to Lando, but Lando picks up a time penalty. It's only a 2-second because the race is a little bit shorter, but it is still a time penalty. Can Campbell keep close enough to regain that 3rd place? Verstappen's trying to get back into 3rd place in the standings ahead of his teammate, but that could all depend on whether Toxic makes the move stick on Verstappen here, and I think if Toxic does make the move, Campbell has secured 3rd place in this championship standings in the final round of the season. So close between the Trident pair, and Verstappen doing everything he can, but Toxic is homing in on him, and now Lando has the opportunity to home in on him as well.
Yeah, Verstappen struggling to hold on to that lead he built up at the start, and Toxic, almost the invincible Terminator of Formula 2, now beginning to reel him in. Maverick now in a penalty down there in 10th place at the moment, can find himself dropping back, but how close? The field still is at the moment on the 5th lap of this sprint race here in Interlagos. Powering off of Junshao at turn 12, it's Verstappen. He's trying to move away, but Toxic will not allow him. He is still sticking right there with him. It's now M Short on the back of Old School now. Old School just about holding DRS, but does he have prayers? Does he have answers to the furious charge of the odd and round the outside? Can he get that one done? On the brakes, M Short trying to go all the way right outside of turn 1. On Old School, inside for turn 2. Old School's going to get squeezed out there, but he is not giving it up. They go side by side through turn 3. DRS, this time it's going to be with Old School. As up in the front, Toxic trying to go right inside of Verstappen down there, turn 4. Verstappen shuts the door, squeeze him out, and will hold on to the race leaders. Now, Old School left short of still battling when Old School gets through, and now Larkin down the inside of 5, finds the gap on his teammate, and they may go battling away the third down the inside line. It's still with M Short. Can M Short keep the place though? Larkin trying to run it round the outside of 7, round the outside of turn 8 now. He may get squeezed out there, and Larkin has to give that charge up. Spikes now looking at the pair of them as well, battling all the way through in this midfield scrap. It is phenomenal. Maverick now and Nolan, they go battling away. Carlin and Dabs, and the Dabs has the high ground, heading into the Mega Tapato, runs it out wide, but Maverick still on the inside, but Nolan sweeps around the outside, and Larkin's gone off. Going energy, Sheldon spinning out of that 7th place, keeps it right up, and Larkin now out the points. Now Toxic's attacking for Verstappen again. Right into the turn 1. He tries to get almost done on the brakes. He might just sweep it all the way around with 4 laps to go. But Verstappen, a brilliant exit coming over turn 2. And now he'll fade it back as they head down the right to the Filio, covering the inside line as Toxic all the way to the grass. But now Verstappen cruising around, can he go sweeping around the champion? Here they go now, side by side, going through turn 4. Toxic sees it off, but now Verstappen trying to fade back at him to Ferradura. No, that one's coming up again by Toxic. He has every answer to everything. Verstappen throws at him. Toxic now leads the way. Old School now, and M Short gets up into that 5th place. Aiden, what on earth are we seeing? This final race is one of the best we've seen all season for action.
This is just really a highlights reel for the whole season. This has been amazing racing from start to finish, and the top 4 in pace this season are the ones at the front of the field. Can Lando now do anything about Verstappen? Toxic is through and into the race leader, the final race of the season. What a fitting end to the season it would be for Toxic, for him to win the sprint race at the end. Verstappen now Larkham under massive pressure from Lando, who had a great run out of Zheng Xiao. Is he close enough through 14 and 15 to get the move done? Verstappen will have DRS off the back of the Prema driver Toxic in front, but Lando is slowly closing in. Verstappen's moving to the middle of the track, now to the left-hand side. Lando even further left, has a look down the inside, but he's not laid enough on the brakes to make it stick. Meanwhile, M Short and Old School is still going at it, and this time around I think M Short is going to get the move done. He is, and Old School was compromised through turn 2, so M Short is finally up into 5th place. He gets it done. Spags in 7th place trying to close in, but he's not close enough, as now Nolan picks up a time penalty, running in 10th place after he's passed Maverick. They're all closing in on Zaldimer, who's now closing in on Driving Dutchman, who's ended up in 8th place. He's had a good race so far. Lando, though, is the man on the move at the moment, up to 3rd place from 8th on the grid. He's right up behind Verstappen, who continues to struggle with the brakes in this race. He's locking up left, right and centre, and Lando is having no such problem. He's trying to get the move done. There's not really a lot of overtaking opportunities in the middle part of the lap, but you would imagine that as soon as Toxic breaks DRS to Verstappen behind, Lando should be through.
And look at this, he almost runs into the back of it in the braking zone. On the beacon to battle, just over 2 laps to go. Toxic trying to run with this one now. He has 7/10 advantage, but Verstappen just hanging on to his DRS. There's a penalty for Toxic. Brandon now out of the race. That's coming out of turn 3 there. Yellow flags out there in the first sector, and his end of the season comes to an abrupt end. Now Exhale Lando's attacking again. He has a run over Verstappen, but now Verstappen just has enough in hand, then he into the braking zone, locks it up, but will hold 2nd place as long as he gets a good exit. Coming over 2, Lando is close though, as he gets the car rotated through 3. He may have a run at him now. Verstappen doesn't cover the inside line, and through goes Lando. Verstappen didn't even open his DRS. He seemed disinterested and keeping that 2nd place. Lando through, but he has a penalty. That'll drop him to the back of the field behind, well, not to the back of the field, but behind the 2 Tridents, I suspect. With a lap and a half to go, surely cannot pull out that gap, but can he make Toxic get on track? Toxic has not pulled away just yet. Nolan and Zerma now battling away inside lane of the Ferradura, but that's not enough for Zerma. Gets squeezed out there. Larkin round the outside of Maverick. He gets through into 11th now. Can he challenge Zerma? Right at the death here in Brazil, when what has been one of the best races of the season. I will bargain on that. Here we go now.
Larkin
just over a lap to go is Larkin.
Larkin trying to go around the outside of Zaldimer, nearly pulled it off, but that would have been a stellar move if Larkin had pulled that off, but he wasn't quite close enough. Zaldimer just holds on. This is going to be the battle for 9th place because of Nolan's penalty, and Zaldimer's wide coming out of Zheng Xiao. Larkin's going to be up the inside line as Lando sets the fastest lap of the race in P2, closing in on Toxic. We're on the final lap of the season. What a season it's been. Can Lando beat Toxic out on track and make a statement for next season? Larkin is through past Zaldimer. Zaldimer has DRS to come back at him, but Larkin would have the inside line for turn 1, and you would imagine that Larkin's going to have this move done into the corner. He's late on the brakes, and Zaldimer can't challenge Larkin's up into 10th place, make that 9th with Nolan's penalty. What a race to end the season, as Old School's now trying to come back at M Short for 5th place, but he's not close enough to get it stuck. He stays in 6th place for the time being. Lando's penalty is going to drop him behind the 2 Tridents, but with Verstappen and Campbell 3rd and 4th, Campbell is going to secure 3rd place in the championship over his teammate at this point in the race. Lando not close enough and not scoring enough points to get past Chill in the standings, so Lando will stay 7th, but the final lap of the season, and it's Toxic and Lando at the front of the field once again, separated by absolutely nothing. What a way to end off the season. It's been such a great season. We've got 2 corners to go. Toxic's going to run us through Zheng Xiao for the last time in this sprint race. What a sprint race it was. It was a bit of a wait, but when it came, it was absolutely brilliant, and Toxic is just going to hold on. Lando does have a great run, but there's not enough straight left before the start-finish line, and he has a penalty, so he's not going to win this race. What a fitting way to end the season for Toxic. He's going to win the final sprint race of the championship. Lando crosses the line in 2nd with the fastest lap of the race on the last lap. Verstappen gets 2nd. Campbell in 3rd means he secures 3rd in the standings ahead of M Short in 4th. M Short in 5th, sorry. Old School wins it there to Spag in 7th. Great drive from him. Driving Dutchman ends up in 8th. Great race from him. Larkin 9th ahead of Zaldimer 10th. Nolan drops to 11th ahead of Maverick, who gets beaten by Tim on penalties. California 5 will be next to cross the line ahead of Alex, Miami, Jordan and Ibo, who will round off the finishers. What a way to end the season. It was a little bit delayed, but it was worth the wait, and what a fitting way to end for Toxic with the race victory.
That is just a summing up of Toxic season. What a championship campaign, and it's a championship he will be rewarded with at the end of 80 grueling rounds of racing in action. It has been an absolute joy to cover this, and we will get the top 4 finishers in the Drivers' Championship. They've all driven fantastic seasons, and I hope and I expect that they will all be back next year to be disputing the title once more. But none of them could stand up to this man, Toxic MML, who in the second half just ran away with it. Larkin put up a good fight in the first half of the season, but in the end just couldn't hold back, who was, by some margin, I think the quickest driver across the entire season. Lando came close over the second half, but realistically, no one was going to beat Toxic to that title. He wins it by a margin of greater than 100 points at the end of the day, and my oh my, what a deserving title it will be. There is your final podium of the season. It is Toxic from Verstappen, from Campbell, the 3 drivers that fought for the title back in Season 2. Ultimately, those 2 tridents fell by the wayside in the first half of the season. That cost them a chance at really running for it, but they still gave a good go for second, and they will be rewarded with the manufacturers, the constructors title to go with and cap off their season. That is it for our final race. Toxic wins the day from Verstappen, who couldn't quite hold him back. Campbell gets P3. He wins the Trident inter-teammate battle. He gets third in the race and in the championship. Lando penalty costs him P2. What a splash he's made, though, since him joining back there in Hungary. Short, also great couple of races for him. In his debut, he gets 5th place ahead of Old School, who also made quite the splash in his first round here in F2. I hope he'll be back. Spag comes through in 7th there. He was in the wars yet again. He beat Striving Dutchman and Larkin to the final points there. Zonema rounds out the top 10. Then outside the top 10, you have Nolan, Tim, Maverick California, Alex Miami, Jordan Ebo, Brandon couldn't see out the checkered flag, and that is going to be it for the final race, the final round of the championship. What a pleasure it's been. What a season we've been treated to, Aidan.
Absolutely incredible season from start to finish. I've said it before, I've said it a million times, and I will say it a million times more. This has been the best thing I've commentated on this game cycles. It's been so much fun to commentate over Formula 2 this season, and I really hope that Formula 2 continues to go from strength to strength next season, especially with, well, hopefully in the near future, the 2020 Formula 2 cars come into this game. I mean, who knows when they're coming, but when they arrive, hopefully with some new tyre physics along with them as well, those cars are going to be something. They're going to be something else to drive, and that's going to be great to watch if they come into this game. Fingers crossed they do, because that will be fun to watch, and maybe we might even get a few more spots in the online lobby so that more people can take part in each division. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we will have 2 divisions. That would be great to see as well, and that would be even closer battling throughout the field. If we get 2 divisions, that would be better for all those people that seem to struggle towards the back of the field in most races. We'll have to wait and see. And Nadako, if you are able to invite our top 4 in the championship into the party, I don't want to do it myself just in case I cut your voice off in the stream, so if you could do that for us, that would be great. We can get our top 4 in, and we can get their final thoughts on this season and get their future thoughts heading into season 5 of Formula 2, which will be coming up fairly shortly in the new year. Obviously we all have a break over Christmas for Formula 2, so that's what we're going to be looking forward to, the start of the new season. And unfortunately, like I said, I won't be commentating, but I will be watching from the sidelines, and you probably will see me quite a lot in the chat when I can be in there, so I'll be egging these guys on. And I'm sure, Daka, you're pretty excited, but also probably terrified for Formula 2 next season, in the fact that if you are ending up commentating it on your own, you might lose your voice halfway through each race.
I'm not going to lie, that thought has definitely crossed my mind going through it. So we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens into next season. And we are now going to see all the drivers joining, I suspect. Great seasons, of course, from all of these guys. We now have, I think we're just waiting on... No, we're not waiting on anyone. We now have all 4 drivers in. Thanks to all of you for joining so swiftly. Great season put up, and I'm sure you can all be proud of what you've produced this season. I think that, Aidan, I'll hand over to you a little bit to ask the first question for all of these drivers.
Okay, yeah. So we'll start off with our championship winner, obviously, Toxic. You've won your 2nd Formula 2 season championship in a row, and you won it by, well, at the end of the day, a country mile. It was a close battle at the start of the season. At the end, it looked like you dominated from start to finish, but it was absolutely brilliant season from you. What's your highlight of the season? What was your favourite moment of the season?
Oh, that's Tricky.
Too many to choose from.
Probably just. Jeez, just battling with my friends, to be honest. Like the good parts, the good battles. Yeah.
So heartfelt. How sweet. I'm going to ask the same question though to Larkin. Obviously, Larkin, the start of your season was great, and you were leading the championship in the early phases. Unfortunately, your championship kind of filtered away as the season went on. But I'm sure you can look back on this season with a little bit of pride, coming home with second place in the standings. What was your favourite moment of the season?
Probably the couple of weeks I could look at the standings and see that I was in P1. I had a couple of races that I enjoyed, a couple of races where I had nice little battles. Obviously, like you said, it went a bit downhill towards the end, but I think overall it was pretty good.
Yeah, definitely was a really strong season for you. And I think, obviously, another one of the highlights of the season has been the inter-team battle between Trident, which I believe, if my maths are correct after this race, Campbell has won that battle between the Trident drivers. And it seems, I think, Verstappen's held third in the standings for the majority of the season, but Campbell was able to overhaul Verstappen at the end of the season. So, first of all, Verstappen, what's your feelings on being beaten by your teammate in the final round of the season?
Honestly, I don't care as much about that as I would about getting a race win, which I have not managed to achieve, so a bit disappointed with that. But yeah, it was very close between us, and we also tried to get the constructors, which we managed to quite comfortably in the end.
Yeah.
The last few races have been really good from both of us. So again, the 1-2 in USA. So that's pretty good, and that's probably also my highlight of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And then Campbell, just for you as well, obviously third in the standings this season round. I think you're obviously coming into this championship, you were probably expecting to fight for the championship. It unfortunately didn't materialise, but it was still a great season from you. And what was your highlight of the season, and what are you kind of looking forward to next season as well?
Well, first of all, highlight the season. Difficult to choose. I know for some reason the sprint race at Spa sticks out in memory for some reason. I can't quite remember why.
Really?
Something to do with some other team crashing, I don't know. But yeah, that was an enjoyable race. And also, as Verstappen mentioned, the 1-2 in USA, we both capitalised on mistakes from everyone else, and we split the strategies, and it worked out in the end. Yeah. As for the championship, I probably would have hoped to be a bit closer. Definitely would have wanted P2 in the end, but I didn't start the season off knowing you're strong enough. Didn't quite get to grips with the cars on this game compared to where I was on them last game. So that was a struggle for the first couple of rounds. I guess you guys probably seen that. Just wasn't quite where I wanted to be. It's picked up though in definitely much more recent rounds, and I hope for the new season that can carry on. Yes, I guess the cars will change slightly in handling model because of the new tyre, or I'd hope they would because we've got a new tyre model. But it's Cody's, you never know. But let's hope that next season goes better than this one.
Yeah, I just want to ask all four of you very quickly. Are all of you signing up for next season of Formula 2?
Yep.
Indeed.
Depends if Philippe signs up again.
Got a certain Scotland.
I'm sure you've got the power to get the pen out for that if need be.
And then I suppose another question from me then. Obviously, Toxic is probably going to be one of the favourites then if he's signing up for next season. Which one of you other three is going to be the one to beat him next year?
It's not going to be my teammate, I'll tell you that.
Sorry?
I'll give it a
choice. I'll give it a go.
Lando as well.
Yeah. Lando, if he can sort out the penalties, I think that's held him down a lot in recent rounds. If you can sort those out, you'd definitely take it to you when you make those mistakes. It seems so common now.
Oh.
Ooh. Fighting talk. But obviously, yeah, you mentioned Lando as well. Is there anyone else that maybe sticks out on your mind as a possible contender next year?
Well, I got these three amazing people in this party. Lando, and I think that I haven't seen the new sign-ups yet, so there could be a few dark horses. But apart from those four, I don't really see anyone else. Miami, actually, he's very quick in the sprint races, but I haven't really seen him much in the feature races. So maybe if he gets that under control, he could also start challenging.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very fascinating to look forward to next season. I'm very much looking forward to it covering it. I guess a question for you, Toxic. We mentioned who do you think can challenge you? Are you going to win the championship next season?
I don't want to jinx myself, so I've got some wood right here. I hope so. I hope that I can stop the bottling and that these lot don't get faster, because if they do, then it's going to be game over.
Unusually humble.
I mean, you say stop the bottling and you won the championship by 140 points. So I wouldn't. Well, we won't talk about Zandvoort. We won't go into that into too much detail. We don't want to ruin your evening. But yeah, I think final thought for me this season. Obviously, this has absolutely been an amazing season. This Formula 2. It has been the best thing I've commentated on. It's been so much fun to commentate over it this season. I think just final thoughts. Final question for me actually is. Driver lineups for next season are any of you changing for next season? How's the driver lineups looking?
The teammates?
Yeah, the teammates.
After 2 seasons, I believe anyway, me and Verstappen are going to break away. So we've won back-to-back constructors. I'm a bit fed up of them, to be honest. Carrying for 2 constructors, finishing above in the standings 2 seasons in a row. Back pain, so I'll pass it over to Toxic, I guess.
Yeah.
Just grow a bigger back, honestly.
Chill is being discarded after he absolutely bottled the constructors.
Oh my word!
No reason of spa, no.
No, not at all. But
So-
Larkin.
Yeah, I don't trust Philippe not to end up in prison before the end of next season. So I am moving on to Miami for the next one. So
Well,
should be a bit better.
Well, it looks like we're going to have quite a few good lineups then for next season. I don't know if Campbell, if you confirmed your teammate yet, but Verstappen and Toxic as a team, and then Larkin and Miami as a team.
Oh,
did I get it the wrong way round?
I've got the Scott. I've kidnapped him.
Oh, you've got the Scott, so Verstappen's fighting someone else.
Same from the pool
I got it
team.
the wrong way round. Anyway, well, Verstappen's the one that doesn't have a teammate.
Well,
you
I
can
say
tell
that.
Oh,
You can tell the difference between a
I'm
Scotsman
picking up
and a
the
Dutchman. That's very
discarded.
sad.
oh.
I'm picking up the discarded teammate of QVR Chill for next season.
Good luck.
Get a trainer.
Just need my free way for pit stops, so I decided to go with him.
Well, it looks like it's going to be an interesting fight for the Teams Championship next season as well as the drivers, so can't wait to tune into that. But that is where we're going to round off the stream today, guys. I think it's a fun way to end the season. A lot of fighting talk for next season, so that's going to be something to look forward to. But thank you guys for joining us in the party today for chatting with us at the end of the season. And obviously, thanks to everyone for watching the stream. Thank you to Daka for joining me in the commentary box, and from me, this is the last time commentating on Formula 2, so from me, thank you very much for being with us all season, and can't wait to see what happens next season. But from myself and Daka, and from Toxic, from Campbell, from Verstappen, and from Larkin, it is thank you very much, and goodbye.